Welcome to beautiful Barbados. Welcome to a new day in paradise. Welcome to a whole new world of nature, dressed in the most splendid of tropical colors. Welcome to the most idyllic tropical climate in the Caribbean. Soft and gentle, never too hot, cooled by the majestic Atlantic Ocean on the east coast and warmed by the caress and azure beauty of the Caribbean Sea on the west. Welcome to miles and miles of golden sand beaches with just the whisper of the trade winds through the palm trees to help conjure up a whole new experience of total enchantment. Here, in this singularly pleasant isle of paradise, the stress and strain of city living are left far behind. Here, as you venture forth to discover the uniqueness and loveliness that is Barbados, you'll come to appreciate that the island is like a garden with fields laid out in beautifully neat plots that yield sugarcane and many various vegetables, fruits, and flowers. A host of tropical beauties, a garden paradise indeed. Barbados is only 21 miles long by 14 miles wide, or approximately 166 square miles, made up mainly of coral and limestone. It lies 13 degrees north latitude and 59 degrees west longitude, the most easterly of the Caribbean islands. Yet this tiny island is packed like a jewel box with photogenic gems of natural loveliness, of historical significance and cultural diversity. Because in Barbados, although the language is essentially English, the culture is a rich fusion of the rhythms of Africa and the melodies of Europe, tempered with a gentle old world flavor, partly a reminder of the fact that the English spent over 300 years here, first settling in Barbados in 1627. This British tradition has left its imprint, producing a Bajan way of life, marked by courtesy and order, but with that special Caribbean ability to relax. Today, it's still called Little England by some, with its neat churches, its well-planted, carefully tended plantations, and its passion for cricket, democracy, and tolerance. Bridgetown, the capital, located in the southwest corner of Barbados, was founded by settlers sent out by the Earl of Carlisle in 1628. The city is named after an old Indian bridge that spanned the waterway. Bridgetown is the hub of commerce, shopping, and shipping. With a population of nearly 100,000 people, Bridgetown and its suburbs contain about 40% of Barbados' citizens. The main bridge in Bridgetown is a Chamberlain Bridge. For centuries, this was one of the main wooden bridges in Bridgetown. It has been replaced many times due to flood, fire, and hurricane. Nearby the bridge are the public buildings. Built in 1860 after a devastating fire destroyed both houses and stores in this area. The East Wing contains a House of Parliament, which was opened in 1874. The Parliament of Barbados is the third oldest in the English-speaking world, and Barbadians are particularly proud of their long association with the Westminster system. Nearby is the area which was traditionally called the Green, or the Village Green. But on the death of Lord Nelson at Trafalgar in 1805, the Green was renamed Trafalgar Square. The statue of Lord Nelson, which stands in the square, was erected in 1815, thus preceding the monument in Trafalgar Square, London, England, by some 7 years. St. Michael's Cathedral stands on the site of the original church and was consecrated in 1665. It became a cathedral in 1825 and is known for its arched roof, at one time the largest single arch in the world. Barbados is a multi-denominational society made up of all the main Christian churches, plus other small denominations of other religions. Located in the outskirts of Bridgetown is the Arts and Crafts Center known as Pelican Village. It was established for the island's craft workers, and it houses a myriad of shops where visitors may browse and purchase local wares. Nearby in the Fontebelle district is a heralded sports ground, the seat of Barbados' national passion, cricket, the famous Kensington Oval. And close by is a deep-water harbor, a cruise ship destination and the center for shipping in Barbados. In the 17th century, touring the island of Barbados, or Los Barbados as the Portuguese called it, would have been by camel. But today, fortunately, touring the island is much less hazardous. Popular tours can be arranged through a tour bus company. Hiring a car and exploring the island's many roads, byways and highways is another method of touring the island. The breezy milk with its cool, exciting atmosphere is certainly the most popular of all forms of vehicular traffic for the visitor to the island. The more adventurous can hire bicycles, as the island is not mountainous and the coast roads are never too strenuous. One of the best ways to get to know the island is by taking a local bus. The Transport Board offers an excellent service covering the entire island.
From Bridgetown, the Spring Garden Highway links the South Coast roads to the West Coast Road and the tranquil waters of the Caribbean Sea. The journey north into the parish of St. James passes the magnificent property of Sandy Lane, now an important hotel on the island. And just a few miles north is Holetown, the site of the landing of the first British settlers. Close by is the St. James Parish Church, amongst the four oldest in Barbados. Both the font and the south entrance are over 300 years old, and the church bell was cast in 1696, predating the famed Liberty Bell by 54 years. Further north is the parish of St. Peter, with the lively town of Speightstown, once known as Little Bristol after the port in England. Once this port was a bustling sugar harbour. Now it's a fishing port and market, and the site of one of Barbados's most prestigious hotels, Hayward's Resort. Just a few miles from Speightstown is the north point of the island in the parish of St. Lucie, with its magnificent view of both the rugged Atlantic and the peaceful Caribbean Sea. Below the cliff is the Animal Flower Cave, so called because the adjoining caves are covered with a colourful carpet of sea anemones, which grow in the rock pools. A refreshing dip below can be mixed with a bracing cocktail above. The journey south offers the photographer many opportunities to record the beauty of the surrounding countryside, but the photographer's dream setting can be found at one of the finest parks in the island, Farley Hill National Park. This park boasts a magnificent view of the east coast and the ruins of a sugar planter's mansion famous for the guests who once stayed there. Just across the road is the Barbados Wildlife Reserve, a place to gently stroll through and see a whole host of animals in a natural environment, a mahogany forest. The most abundant animal in the reserve is the Barbados monkey. Swinging through the trees, they are always close at hand. Barbados monkeys were once quite rare on the island, living in isolated woods, but are now prevalent throughout the island. Also in the parish of St. Peter is one of the most famous houses in Barbados, St. Nicholas Abbey, thought to have been built in about 1650. It's important architecturally, one of the two oldest Jacobean houses in the Western Hemisphere, the other being in Virginia in the United States. From St. Nicholas Abbey, the road east is arched by an avenue of mature mahogany trees, leading to a spectacular view of the hilly Scotland district. The place, Cherry Tree Hill, 850 feet above sea level with a magnificent view of the east coast. The road continues down a steep hill to Morgan Lewis Mill, the only remaining mill with its sail arms still in perfect working order. Its strong resemblance to the Dutch windmills is due to the Dutch Jews, who settled here and pioneered sugarcane cultivation and manufacture. From the hills, the road leads to the east side of the island and the beginning of the East Coast Road. The East Coast Road passes Barclays Park and winds its way to the picturesque tourist resort of Bathsheba. Here the majestic Atlantic Ocean pounds its surf against the rocks after traveling over 2,500 miles from the west coast of Africa. Although not safe for sea bathing, the more adventurous find Bathsheba an exciting challenge. In the next bay, visitors and locals alike enjoy the wonderful hospitality of the Atlantis Hotel, a restaurant-hotel complex with an international reputation for its sumptuous buffet lunches of local Barbadian delicacies. The Atlantis Hotel overlooks the attractive fishing village of Tent Bay. Just up the hill from Tent Bay are the Andromeda Gardens, The gardens provide the visitor with a place to relax and enjoy the beauty, peace, and serenity of a well-kept garden. A few miles south is the parish of St. John and the home of the Grand St. John's Church, situated on the edge of a cliff. It is over 800 feet above sea level. In the churchyard lies Fernando Paleologus, who, tradition says, was a descendant of Constantine the Great, one of the last members of the Greek royal family. Codrington College, also in the parish of St. John, was originally a plantation home, but now it's a theological seminary. Established in 1845, it is the oldest of its kind in the Western Hemisphere.
To the south is the parish of St. Philip, and Ragged Point Lighthouse, at its southeasterly tip, juts out its proud head, illuminating the Atlantic. Also in St. Philip is Sam Lord's Castle. Now a hotel containing a fascinating period museum, this elegant Georgian mansion was built in 1820 by the famous buccaneer, Samuel Hall Lord. The legend has it that Lord lured ships to their doom by hanging lanterns in the palm trees, drowning the occupants and looting the cargoes. Crane Beach nearby is one of the most beautiful coral beaches on the island. The Crane Hotel is an 18th century mansion overlooking the sea, with one of the most spectacular views on the island. Sunbury Plantation House, still in St. Philip, was built over 300 years ago. This mansion is furnished as a family home, but there are so many Barbadian mechanical antiques that it's become a favorite as a museum. Bill Miller has a wonderful collection of over 200 birds. The place, Ortison Plantation. His growing collection of animals from all over the world and his knowledge and interest of the wildlife makes a visit to the plantation a must for animal lovers. Further west along the South Coast Road is Grantley Adams International Airport, named after the first Premier of Barbados. The airport is host to many of the world's major carriers, as well as Caribbean flights to the neighboring islands. Further west is the fishing town of Oistins, the major fishing harbor of the island, with its modern fishing terminal and market, and the home for the famous Bajan flying fish. A journey north to the central part of the island passes through lush farmland and old plantations to Gun Hill Signal Station in St. George. Barbados abounds in old forts and signal stations where antique cannons are relics of the old 17th century British fortifications. The dazzling stone lion of Gun Hill is of much more modern vintage, having been carved out of a single piece of rock in 1868 by former British serving soldier Colonel Henry John Wilkinson. In the parish of St. John is Villa Nova, a particularly fine house which dates from just after the Great Hurricane of 1831. It was built in the lavish, opulent style of 18th century Barbados when sugar was king. Recently, it was the winter home of Lord Avon, or Anthony Eden, a former Prime Minister of England. Further north is Mount Hillaby, the highest point on the island, 1,115 feet above sea level. From Mount Hillaby, there are thrilling views of the Scotland district, the most picturesque and scenic of Barbados. A photographer's paradise is the Richmond Plantation, now host to one of the finest gardens, the Flower Forest. 50 acres developed into a unique garden interspersed with a wide variety of flowers and other fauna. Welchman Hall Gully in St. Thomas is another example of a fine garden with fruit and spice-bearing trees and natural caves owned by the National Trust. But a cave is not a cave without making special mention of the superlative natural phenomena of Harrison's Cave. The tunnel tour ventures through a whole new magical world of subterranean caverns with dramatic waterfalls, lakes, and streams. The train winds its way down to a depth of 160 feet. It is truly one of the wonders of the world.
The capital city of Bridgetown, with its charm, its bustle, and its busy Broad Street, provides excellent shopping in Barbados. Shopping is both simple and attractive, and in recent years, Bridgetown has been regarded as the Caribbean's showcase for the finest fashions from all over the world. To visitors taking their purchases back home, shopping is all duty-free. Barbados is particularly proud of its fine fashions, for evening wear or for the beach, for there's always the pull of the sea, drawing you to share in its unique pleasures and excitements. For many tourists, a land tour is not enough. Salt air, the slap of the waves against the boat, all have their special attractions. Barbados from the sea, with its own particular delights, is one of the finest ways to view the island. It can be done in rambunctious pirate fashion aboard the Jolly Roger pirate cruise. No inhibitions are allowed on board, just lots of good fun. The Jolly Roger offers a 4-hour voyage along the west coast. Lunch is served, and there is always plenty of time during the day cruise to enjoy pirate water sports, dancing on deck, or a drink at the bar. There's also a pirate wedding for extra fun. You can take a cruise with a difference on the Bajan Queen. Reminiscent of a Mississippi-style riverboat, the emphasis here is on comfort. The Bajan Queen's 4.5-hour luncheon cruise makes 2 stops for snorkeling and various water sports. Lunch is served while on board, with a free bar and plenty of music for dancing or just listening to. Both vessels offer romantic evening cruises. In addition, there are many cruise charter specialists, including the Atlantis submarine. The 1-hour voyage by day or night offers a visitor an opportunity to explore the incredible underwater sea life from the safety of a submarine. In addition, there are yachts of every shape and size offering skippered day sails with meals and drinks, all available on board. The complete safety of our surrounding waters, which are unpolluted and teeming with underwater life, makes exploring the deep a haven for the water sport enthusiast. The more adventurous, with the Hemingway spirit, may seek to battle with barracuda or other large game fish on a deep-sea fishing trip. The coral reefs around Barbados add another dimension to the island's paradise. Snorkeling and scuba diving are all at hand, providing a vividly colored world of tropical marine life. Scuba schools are available, and in no time almost anyone can acquire sufficient skills to take a dive and enjoy a pleasure rare and wonderful. The underwater park at Folkestone in St. James is a rather special recreation zone. It's a reserve created to protect marine life with a law forbidding the removal of any form of marine life, including coral, and prohibiting fishing of any kind. This reef is a bustling, enormous fish tank with hundreds of tropical species and plants. Most of this paradise can be viewed from a glass-bottom boat, cruising gently over the placid waters. Water skiing, jet skiing, and mosquito riding are all popular water sport activities in Barbados, especially on the west coast with its peaceful water. The sea of the south coast is more suited to windsurfing. Barbados has a fine international reputation for windsurfing and has been the venue for many international windsurfing events. There are many other sports also available. For landlubbers, whether spectator or participant, there is always a game of cricket being played somewhere about the island. And of course, there's horse racing. Horse racing in season is held on alternate Saturdays at the Garrison. Most hotels have their own tennis courts, and squash courts are readily available. Barbados has the ideal climate for golf. Sandy Lane has a beautiful 18-hole course, whilst there are 9-hole courses at Rockley Resort in the south and Haywards in the north. A sport that is keenly contested in Barbados is that of motor rallying, with the route frequently taking cars to some of the most remote parts of the island, through tracks usually untraveled by the visitor. And always there is the sea to return to, the sea and the sand to relax in, to lay back and soak up that tropical sunshine, for Barbados is the sunshine capital of the Caribbean.
Barbados continues to boast an almost unequaled record of political and economic stability. Traditionally, sugarcane has been the backbone of the Barbadian economy, with raw sugar being exported to England. Today, however, rum production and rum exports are becoming increasingly more important. Barbadian agriculture is becoming more diverse, including cattle and sheep rearing, with horticulture for export and vegetables for the local tourist industry. Industrial development has grown rapidly since independence in 1966 and includes cement, oil and gas production, mahogany furniture, fine garments, and a wide variety of electronic components for the data processing industry. Barbados is particularly proud of its high-grade infrastructure, good roads and public facilities, good medical services, and a first-class telecommunication system. Barbados also boasts an above 90% literacy rate built on a sound education system. Much of Barbados's culture is a rich, attractive fusion of African, English, Scottish, Irish, and North American. Barbadians, or Bajans, have a great capacity for fun and enjoyment, best seen at their annual festival called Crop Over in July and August. The climax of Crop Over is called Kadooment, when Bridgetown comes alive with color as costume dancers revel in the streets. Other aspects of Barbadian culture are seen in the attractive handicrafts found in the street markets, as well as different memorabilia found in the Barbados Museum. And further aspects of Barbados's culture are found in the architecture, from the chattel house to the modern industrial complexes. Barbados has always had a fine reputation for its hospitality. The tourism industry in Barbados is nearly 300 years old, beginning during the 17th century when businessmen from England and other parts of the world lodged at the ice houses and boarding houses during their trips to the island. Today, the industry has expanded and become the main earner of foreign exchange. Accommodation available spans luxurious hotels to inns and self-catering apartments, guest houses and cottages. Some 14,000 beds are available to suit every taste and requirement, and almost all the hotels are on the beach or just minutes away. Through it all, Barbados retains an international reputation for friendliness and great hospitality. Service is in the Barbadian tradition, thoughtful, attentive, and warmly hospitable. As the day sinks slowly into evening, Barbados comes alive with nighttime activities. The cocktail hour is very popular, either at managers' parties, where rum punch becomes a drink of the moment, or the ever-present happy hour, or pre-dinner drink that starts off an adventure of another kind. Most of the hotels and restaurants offer excellent food and service in settings of great natural beauty and charm that make eating out an exciting pleasure. A gastronomic tour of the island offers both local and international cuisine. The service is always friendly and helpful, and always suggesting the best of the local delicacies. Seafood lovers will find quite a variety to choose from, freshly drawn from the Atlantic or Caribbean Sea. A wide range of freshly picked vegetables are always on the menu, and if somewhat different to what the visitor is familiar with, they are all worth sampling. There is so much to enjoy after dinner. There's a beat of the steel band in the air, and the nightlife really comes alive. Nightlife can mean jazz, or a romantic dance cheek to cheek in a candlelit cafe, or lively disco dancing in a club. Nightlife can mean a sophisticated cabaret, or a complete dancing show with colorful costume dancers. Dinner and dance shows are highly entertaining and extremely popular. Nightlife can also mean limbo dancing by an expert or by the visitor. Or nightlife can mean listening and dancing to all the fine rhythmed Sea Island music. There is always something happening somewhere. Just listen and watch. For something very special and very different, the place to be is Baxter's Road, There are shops lining both sides of the road, open from late in the evening to late in the morning. There is always something going on in Baxter's Road. Lots of rum shop laughter, good simple food, and what Bajans love to call a lime. Soon it will be morning and the sun will rise again, up on its journey across the Atlantic to the best of paradise, Barbados. Barbadians are proud of their country. A careful, considerate people, they've produced much from their paradise island of coral and limestone. Colorful Barbados, some say, attractive Barbados, others say, and beautiful Barbados, many say. But friendly Barbados, all say. So easy to come to Barbados, so difficult to leave. Because the spirit of Barbados can entice you and encourage you to return to the island of paradise, Barbados.
Skies of Barbados, be free. Don't let them take you from me. Free are the skies of